What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 game development live stream where we're back in our Gas Course project. Game built from scratch using Unreal Engine 5, of course, blueprints, C++, the gameplay ability system plugin, and all that good stuff. So today we're going to continue where we left off on Tuesday, where we were working on a new attribute set, basically a set of stats that kind of work into being able to purchase, not purchase, but resources to expend on playing different types of cards while in combat. So that's what we're working on right now. So right now we're just looking at our stats. You can't really see that debug too well, but you gotta trust me, that's what we're looking at. So it looks like we're not really getting any passive gain each period tick. So I'm wondering if, oh yeah, here's our periodic gain, so calculation class. So we got to put in our card energy execution, and then hopefully this will work. As we, we'll get more. Okay, no. So let's see what's going on, because I know I added some stuff in here. I wonder if we get this breakpoint. We do. So let's follow the rabbit hole, shall we? Because I'm assuming we get put out here. Because we get outgoing card. Okay. I wonder if it's with our... Oh, probably gotta use the blueprint card execution class. So let's just confirm everything. Seems fine. Let's relaunch Pi here. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to actually tell it what to be doing. So modifier magnitude, we're going to incoming card energy. We're going to add, well, we can just add. Let's do override. I don't know. Let's try add first. And then we're going to do attribute based. And then backing attribute to capture passive gain. Source. Sure. This should do something. Okay, now we're getting card in. So we get 1, then we're getting XP, then we get 2, and then 3. So we reach the max cap, but then the current card energy XP kind of keeps growing. So we gotta figure out how to make sure that we stop it there. Right, we got some more bots on Kick. It's kind of shocking how many bots there are on Kick. I can see why people don't really want to stream on it. So yeah, we want to make sure our XP stops growing. We kind of want to clamp it. In some way. And I don't know where the clamping really should be. Like, because we're clamping it here, so we clamp it between that, and then on post gameplay effect execute. This is where we're saying, okay, new card XP is greater than or equal to that. Else set current. Like, do we ever reach this breakpoint? But my assumption was we reached that point. So, but maybe I have to do the check within the calculation class rather than the attribute set. So we're gonna find out. Yes, we never really get there. So let's just do a breakpoint. We get here. And then we get here. Oh, yeah, so we get here. So I assume the wrong part here. So I would rather say what? Okay, if, and then here we're setting the card. So it's not that, I guess I have to do like a similar thing here. Seems like a weird nested if going on, but something like that I think is what I want. And then I want to get modifiers, like multipliers, and I guess ways to, of course, like limit it, block it from happening. I also want to make sure I can properly pause it, because I don't know if I want to give you passive gain while you're like obviously we're gonna have like the different parts of the game modes and stuff. So you know, when the waves start, you'll be kind of granted this passive effect, but when you pause the game or when you're going into the mode where you're playing the cards, I don't know if I want to allow you to game passively. So I'll have to see if there's an elegant way to like pause periodic gameplay effects. So we're gonna have to see. Okay, so let's see this one more time. So you know, we're passively gaining. We got 1 current card energy, 2, 3. See, it's still counting up. Do I get to here? Okay, so I'm doing the wrong check. Classic mistake. So instead of current XP before gain, I want to say if get current card energy. It's less than get maximum card energy. I think that's the checks I want to make. I feel like I'm seeing things. I saw my kitty come by. And yeah, so then we gotta add modifiers. I think we added those attributes like max, like I don't know if they were explicitly multipliers. It's like so incoming card, current card, max. Yeah, we didn't add any we didn't add any like incoming, no, well, not incoming, but just I guess passive game multiplier, maybe a general gain multiplier. Let's just see if this worked. So again, current card energy will stay at 3, and then current card energy XP should stay at 10. It does. But it goes from 0 to 10, which I don't like. So let's think about this a little bit. Because it basically waits till the next tick to figure that out. So I would like it to, you know, kind of immediately go to 10. So I feel like, so we evaluate here, we const, but if new XP I guess I could do the check here as well. Like if card energy equal. Do a return. Let's see. Then we're also going to need to make gameplay tags, so we could do immunities, and we can do, blockings and things like that. Then we'll have to make a view model to kind of pull this data in, make it look nice on screen. And then we got to add cost to cards. I'll add that to our data for that. I don't know what's left from there. Then we'll mess around and find out. All right. Let's see. So what I'm expecting, again, you won't see this too well on stream, but we get to current card energy 1, we keep getting XP, get to 2, and now it should go to 3 and immediately snap to 10. Yes. So that's what I want. So 3 is our max. 10 is our max XP, and things like that. And maybe, that's what I'm not entirely sure of, if it's going to be a consistent, 100 XP for a card energy to use, or if we want to modify that. And that's something that could be interesting. Enemies might be able to do that. Like maybe enemies drain your card, your passive card. They block your passive gain. And I think there could be some interesting counterplay with enemies that way. They kind of interact with that, or a status effect that they apply to you that do these things. So I would need to kind of make sure that the attribute set behaves in these ways that can make it interesting for us later down the line. So that's what we're kind of just focusing on right now. So now that we know the passive stuff is working, right? So we gotta do a couple things, and I guess we'll do it in code just to make sure it's a native gameplay tag. Hey, thanks for the follow. My drum. Nice. And we got piss buckets. Nice. Cool name, man. Thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. How you guys doing? 16 viewers. Damn. Okay. Appreciate it. How's everybody doing? Thanks for stopping in. And thanks for the follow, piss buckets. Every time I see your name, that's ridiculous. How was your stream, man? Everything good? Oh, thanks. Project, I appreciate that. We've been working on it for quite a long time, and what we were trying to figure out is actually like the main core of it, because for a very long time we were just working on systems, making sure we can get abilities to activate, we can get melee combos working, we can get trails, we get motion warping, we get the ability system hooked up, we got our health system set up, we got AoE set up, just setting up all these tiny little things. And now that we have a game, me and a buddy of mine from back home, we're working on the design of it. So for those joining, what we're working on is a blend of third-person action. So as you were seeing, you have your character, you would have a specific type of class and things like that. But as you're playing, you will be earning points that you can then spend on cards. So at any time during gameplay, you can toggle on this mode, and you'll have different types of cards that you could play that would have a certain amount of cost. And then you would execute those cards, and they would benefit you. They would grant you passive abilities, active abilities, and you kind of use that to fight waves of enemies and counter AIs that are also playing cards in that way. So just to give an example, let me spawn a dummy so we can see the dummy doing something. So say, for example, I'm whacking the DI, and then I activate card 2, which I think is all hits are crits, and then crit applies burn. So now all my hits are critical, and I'm applying burn damage. And you kind of work in that sort of flow. Yeah, it's the motion matching animations from the gameplay animation sample project. Eventually, I'm going to have to move it out to maybe use custom blend spaces instead. I might still use post-search data to do that, and all the choosers set up and things like this that project kind of gives you. But for now, it was just a part of an exercise to learn that system a little bit more. So eventually we'll adapt our character to other animations and other animation sets that kind of fit together. It's not PvP, it's, I guess, PvE. Like, it's single player. I don't want to deal with multiplayer and things like that. And yeah, all the animations, they come from the marketplace, and I'm mostly game design and programming. Anything art related is not me, it's marketplace assets. But things like the hit stop systems and how we set up the state tree architecture for our melee combos and our air attacks and setting up weapon trails correctly, that's all me. So what we're doing today is working on the base attribute set that we're going to be using to kind of handle the loop about earning points that you then spend to activate a card. So each card, depending on its potency, strength, and its usability, is going to have a cost to it. So as you're playing the game, as you're killing enemies, as you're doing things, you'll actively and passively earn experience that will be mitigated to a card point, energy point, whatever we end up calling it. So you earn 100 XP to that, you then get 1 point. Do another 100, get a second point, until you reach a maximum, and then you can start spending those in the game. Like, so say you have, after I hit this guy a couple times, I have enough for a card, I go play it, I activate it, I lose my point there, then I go in, rinse and repeat. And I want to have cards that have synergy to one another. I want to have cards that I want the enemies, like, obviously it's not going to be just dummy enemies, but enemy archetypes that can challenge both your mechanics and your high level card play. So if you would imagine, there's enemy mobs running around that can do certain things, and then there's a high level AI that's also playing cards that can counteract both your ability in the third person space, but also your abilities in the card space. So, they could debuff you, they can nullify your cards, they can make trap cards, they can buff their characters, they can, change the rules of the game for a round or a wave, and you kind of have to respond with that either through your mechanics in the third person space or with your high level strategy with the cards in that space. So I'm trying to find out if there's an interesting loop there, and just see how far we can take it. So, on a very high level, that's what we're trying to achieve. So again, before we get to all that, we got to start from somewhere, and that's where we're working on right now. We have our attribute set, our card resources attribute set, so we're making sure we can handle passive gain, and we know which attributes we need to associate with it, like passive gain, maximum card energy, XP, current energy, XP, current energy, current card energy, max, all the fun statistical stuff. And now I need to add a native gameplay tag just so we have reference to it in our code in a very easy, nice, clean way. Because I wonder, like, there's gonna be passive gain, and then there's gonna be like active gain, I guess. Sir Freddy from YouTube, hey, are you using gas for this? Yes, as you just saw, yeah, we are. Yeah, it's super useful for this kind of game. I've used it in the past. I've used it for maybe 5 or 6 years now, and still not the greatest, but I have a lot of familiarity with it. So let's look. We have a section here for damage types, so let's make a new section. And we'll do I mean, maybe it's a status actually, because I want to have a blocker for these passives. So we could say status, block, passive, card, energy, XP gain. Yeah, rolls right off the tongue, you know. And then we'll just add it to our thing here. So status.block. Card. Passive. Maybe cards. So energy. XP. Passive. Gain. No, I'm never very good with the naming of everything, you know? So we'll have to see if that will stick. Passive card energy gain. Or yeah, I could say energy dot XP dot passive gain. Too many dots in my opinion. So maybe I could say energy XP dot passive gain. Yeah. I think that's a fine number. So now, you know, we have to compile that. And so we'll test a couple more mechanics with this attribute set, because what I think would be interesting as well, you know, as you know, card energy is your temporary currency that you can use to play your cards. I would like there to be ways for designers to manipulate that in some way. So you could have enemy archetypes that can mess with that. You could have enemy AI cards that mess with that. You could have status effects that mess with that. You can have buffs, debuffs that mess with that. And kind of change the rules of the game. Like, for example, you could have a buff, or if you play a certain number of cards, we change, you know, your total max XP, or we increase the max card energy you can have for a certain amount of time. We could change the rate of the passive XP gain. We could increase it, decrease it. We could block it entirely. We could subtract from it. We could make you start losing your XP. And so if you had like 3 card energy and you have a debuff that makes you lose it, so you lose 1 card energy, and then I don't know, the XP starts ticking down, and I don't know, there could be some interesting ways to handle that. I just don't know what the code would kind of look like for it. I would have to check like the data, I guess. Like I would have to see, you know, in which direction it's moving in. So if it's actually subtracting, or if it's adding, and then kind of dictate how I would want to have that modified. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't know. I'll have to play it by ear, you know? So let's see. So what we're going to try to prove with this gameplay tag is we have ways to block the passive gain, right? So this is just an example, all this kind of setup, but I should be able to have, it would be some sort of like immunity, I think. That's what the kind of thing would be. So I would have to set up a couple different things. So first, let's make a new gameplay effect. So GE underscore passive card XP gain underscore immunity. Do you have a way to easily check your current attribute values? Yeah, there are a couple ways. Obviously, you won't be able to see it too well just because of the resolution of the screen. But you have console commands for one. Ability system dot debug attribute. and then dot, well, not dot, ability system dot debug attribute, and then, you know, attribute name. So in my case, like current card energy XP, you'll get this little debug on the character, and it'll say the current value of that. It'll give you the base value and the current value. You can also hit the, I guess, the double quote key, and then at the top you have abilities, and I don't know how I can do it without. I guess I could just show debug ability system. If you do that, you also have the attributes on like the left-hand side. Also, you can't really see it too well. So again, it's this one. My keyboard doesn't really have a numpad, so I can't really access the top debug stuff, because you could change it with like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but that's that. But you can, I think, use numpad toggle character categories, but supposed to close or hold. I think there's a way to kind of go through them. No, I don't know. I don't know if it's in project settings. It's like maybe gameplay debugger, debug. Yeah, engine gameplay debugger. So let's look at that. So engine. G. So you could do that. So category row next. So plus and minus. Does that work for me? Do I have the appropriate plus or minus? No. So I could, I think. Do that. So now, that didn't really do anything for me. Did that change anything? Yes. So if you actually press 3 or numpad 3, you get this also this debug. Hey, thanks for the follow, Abdul Manan from YouTube. It's much appreciated. But here, yeah, you can see all your attributes. And then you could do Shift 1 to kind of toggle through all the stuff that you're seeing. So you could say Shift 4 only, and then there are all your attributes. Hey, Captain Price, how's it going? So to open up the top menu, I don't know what the key is. It's like the single quote or double quote key on the keyboard. I'll toggle this gameplay debugger. Or apostrophe, if that's it. And that should turn on. And then you can do shift that to do the player, and you kind of just see things. And when you have the ability system plugged in, you can, you know, put in the right stuff there. So that should hopefully help. So yeah, let's go in. Passive gain immunity. So immunity in this context is really just gonna be a block. And you know, you could do it in different ways. You could tell this this gameplay effect to have a specific component to say required tags to apply and continue this effect. But I like using immunity just because it's a little more clear on the intention of it. So for example, we have an immunity thing. We're going to say it for the sake of argument, it's going to have 10 seconds. 5 seconds, I think it's better. And what this will do is it will grant immunity to other effects. So this effect here will need a specific component. It will need a tags this effect has asset tag. Asset tags are what kind of labels gameplay effects and gameplay abilities for external referencing. It's not a tag that gets placed on the player or anything. It's something that kind of is just read and localized to that ability or that gameplay effect. So what we can do is just say, hey, this is a passive regen card effect. We can say effect, asset tag, and we could say gameplay, and then we could say card dot passive dot XP gain. So we say something like that, right? And then in our immunity, we could say, hey, it's immune. It gives you immunity to, and then you got a bunch of queries that you can add here. I guess I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. I always feel bad that you might not see exactly what I'm doing. So hopefully, you know, I'll be blocking it a little bit, so forgive my face. But now you can kind of tell it how to query it, and you can query it. Usually the best way is, again, effect tag, but you could say owning tag, and owning tag is what is on the owning tags for the effect. So not the asset tags, but the owning tags, which are what's placed onto the player. Effect tag being the tags that are on the effect itself, like Coney said. Well, you could also say, hey, check for anything that's modifying a specific thing. So you could, in theory, do the XP passive gain, because this one is well, actually no, incoming card energy is what it would be affecting, because what we do is we use a damage, not damage, we use a calculation class to kind of modify the passive XP being gained. And we'll talk about that a little later. So we can see if this works. You could also just hard reference a specific one if you wanted. Again, that's not the best, just because unless it's a super specific thing, you don't really want to do that. So to test our little theory and hopes here, we can go into our character blueprint just to quickly test some stuff. So we have a space bar, and we can just use that as our testing grounds. I know you're currently doing a course, but any courses you would recommend to get into UE5 World? Yeah, I need to kind of change what my stream description is saying, because like I'm not really doing a course. Like the whole idea for the project was originally to put together a sample project to then build like a free course on, but then it just kind of evolved into like its own kind of game. But any courses you would recommend to get into the UE5 world? No, honestly. Like I started out a long time ago. If you want to know like gas specifically, you can. So the project that I'm working on, for example, you can get access to the code there, and you can kind of just see how I'm using things. But you can also there's also this Tranec documentation I would recommend reading through. I would also recommend downloading the Lyra sample project from Unreal, looking at the gameplay animation sample project from Unreal. They have some courses within the forums and stuff like that, but when possible, unless you have the money to spend on it, I would try to find as many free resources as you can. You can also feel free to join our Discord. I kind of shout out the Discord at the end of the streams, but you can kind of join the Discord and ask any questions there. There's also the Unreal Source Discord server, so if you're on Discord, join there too. I think that's a good source of information. Alright, so let's see if this passive gain thing did anything. So if I press spacebar, I should stop getting passive XP. So let's look again. I'm gonna press spacebar. Doesn't seem like that worked. So, so I wonder if the modifying attribute is just wrong. But we could try a different way. We could do, oops. We could try doing the effect tag query. All tags match. We'll do card, a passive gain. And we can try again, see if that makes a difference. If it doesn't, then we'll have to figure this out. So I press spacebar, and it's still doing it. So I wonder. Let's just make sure this is all kosher. Thank you. I really want to get into UE5. I'm currently in university and also have a full-time job, so it is hard, but I love it. Well, I'm glad to see that you have that kind of passion. There's good resources out there. My recommendation is just keep trying to, learn. Obviously, do as much as you can by yourself. Fail a shit ton, and figure it out as you go. So yeah. So it looks like the immunity is being granted. But it doesn't seem like it's working. Maybe it's a problem that the passive gain is already applied and you can't grant immunity. But I thought there was a way to also affect it so that that it would remove it, right? Unless we also have to do some sort of, not immunity, but a check in here as well. I don't want to remove anything based on certain effects. Block abilities, custom, grant, immunity. Yeah, so the issue is that the immunity is what's kind of blocking the application of it. So we actually would need to have which one do we need? Requirement tags, I guess. So maybe we need to have this tag that we created. So must not have block. So I guess that makes sense. You're immune to new applications. I wonder if there can be like immunity to, I guess, execution of a gameplay effect that happens on the period. Maybe to see later. Don't need to get too complicated at the moment. So we can do that. And then this immunity would grant this tag. Grant tags to the target actor. Paste. So I'm hoping this will work. So I do that, I press spacebar, we apply the gameplay effect. And yeah, now it's paused for 5 seconds, and then it goes. Do it again, pauses, and then it goes again. Okay. So I wonder, well, I guess we can make like an immunity to like, active gain. So like, because besides the whole passive side of it, I want to let the player like actively earn the points by, for example, killing an enemy, or I don't know, maybe through like other cards. You say, maybe you have a card or a passive skill tree thing that says, X percentage of total damage or burn damage, status effect damage turns into this XP that goes into your card resource. I'm just trying to think of it like a easy, not an easy way, but like a quick way to test that loop. Because I really want to put this attribute set through the test. I also want to see, because I guess one thing to check is how it will respond to negative values, so subtracting it. So if you have like a debuff or something that kind of starts taking away your XP. Maybe the XP loss can only be within the spectrum of the XP. So, for example, say you have 10 total XP out of 10, and you get this debuff, and it drops you all the way down to 0 over time. And then once it reaches 0, it doesn't like wrap around again and say, okay, you lost now a full card energy, and then your XP starts to max and drops even more. Maybe it should just kind of bring you back to 0, slowly drain you, block your passive, and things like that. I think that's more fair. There could be other mechanics that kind of just nuke a whole card point, but I don't think they should kind of correlate in that matter. I think only in a positive direction they should kind of align. So let's see. I know it's not going to work, but let's see. So this is not immunity. So I should probably rename it, but you know, for the sake of it, I'll keep it as immunity. And I'll say execute gain block. Could be case what I had, no? Guess not. Text actor, please. Dang, okay. That. And I could maybe have. So yeah, let's work on one that kind of takes away the XP. So no, so GE underscore passive XP gain subtraction. Because I also think I'll need some sort of like data tag to be used at runtime for like this active stuff. So maybe I could just do that favor to myself right now. And we could do data underscore incoming card energy. That's we're not going to use this right now, of course, but just so we have it. Let's pop in. Sorry, give me a second, guys. Okay. So yeah, subtraction. So what we could say, it's an execution class modifier add base, and then instead of it being all this stuff, we could just make it scalable, and we could say -5 or -1, just because we're dealing with small numbers currently. And then this thing can also apply additional effects, and this could so on application, and we'd say the block, right? So we got validation issues. Oh yeah, it's because it's a periodic. We don't really care. We don't want it to be periodic. That should fix that. Good, good. Now let's put this one on. Whoopsie. Sorry for the yawn. It's been a long day. So let's gain some XP here, and then I'm gonna press spacebar. Okay, so it blocked. Not really subtracting. And I guess, well, I guess it technically does. So I do want this to be a period. So I don't like that we get this warning. So periodic GE has on application effects. These will only be applied once. I know. Why do we got a problem? Can I just do that and it'll fix it? No. Is there a way to get rid of that? Let's just see if this works. So we'll gain some XP. So yeah, it is subtracting now. Okay, so we do see that the clamping can get negative. So that's good to know. We would need to fix that. But yeah, this is infinite, which is one issue. So we would want to make sure that this is never infinite. We'll try and give it a duration. And I wonder, like, can this be removed? Does this get removed automatically? So if, for example, I give this a duration of 5 seconds, again, I gotta figure out a best way to handle this. I don't like this validation step here. But yeah, maybe we could do passive block, infinite, Bioshock Infinite. Again, yeah, I know. Gonna gain some XP. Press that. Starts dropping down. After 5 seconds, it should stop. Okay. So that seems like it works. I also have to figure out how to make sure this kind of periodic stuff is not ticked during some parts of the game. So let's copy that text. I gotta just find out if there is a way to mitigate this. Let's look at the code. So we are here. You know, I could. I don't think it should be a warning, right? So if get notification policy instant, blah blah blah, you'll never receive it. Yeah, I know. So like, what do they expect? Like, yeah, instant ones will apply it. So do I have to like kind of like I don't want to introduce an instant thing that then applies effects that do this thing or that thing. Yes, it could. Yes, it could do that. Like we could, for example, say like we rename this the debuff. Yeah, no. And then we say this one is, I don't want to say calculation. This one could be called subtraction. So basically here, you would also apply this other one, subtraction. Ugh. This doesn't do that part anymore. Just make sure it's not periodic. Okay, stop that. So now we can go into subtraction. This could be infinite, a period of 1 second, all that stuff. It doesn't need to do that. It just can just do this execution. -1. Seems fine. Now it should work as we'd expect. So I gain XP. I press jump. Starts reducing it. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it stops. Oh yeah, so infinite is also not infinite. So I wonder, it's weird that it wouldn't have like apply additional effects. I guess I could also do remove. So I thought there was a way to remove a gameplay effect on completion. I thought. Oh. There's also like on complete, and then that could maybe do the removal. I'm pretty sure, unless I'm going crazy. I thought there was something to that effect. Removal. Oop. I just replaced the whole thing. Plans to apply. Custom can apply this. Granting. Like, I feel like that would be like included functionality of this apply digital effect. I can't even run UE5 because my PC is old. Man, that sucks. I'm sorry. I mean, there's other engines to learn. You know, Godot is good. Unity is good. So don't let that stop you from learning other stuff. In the meanwhile, there's always principles from other engines that you can always carry over to Unreal. You know? So yeah, I'm definitely missing functionality that I'd like to see in this gameplay effect. Or this aspect of it. So on active gameplay effect removed. Like I could. Maybe I need to make a new component. Like remove, because this one says remove other effects. But I would want it to be based on completion, right? So maybe I could use that as a framework for what I want to do. So maybe we could see remove other. Well, I gotta look it up. Remove other effect component. So let's look at the base class here. So I should be able to say, yeah, gameplay effect. Make a new folder, add directory. We can call this components. Add Unreal Engine class. And we're going to look for gameplay effect component. Here, so public. Can I expand this? Yeah. So we'll call it see underscore. I feel like that's too long of a name. I could just say GE component. Let's see what happens. So we're going to just do something similar to this. I don't know if I care about validation results, but we'll grab it. I don't know if I need to do the UE API. Let's split move right. Sorry, I'm just kind of cleaning up everything here. Okay, so Let's copy all the boilerplate stuff that I think we'll need. We got that. I don't know if I can use that the UE API option. No. I think I could just do it. That's right. Da, da, da. Now, there should be like void me. So can gameplay effect apply on active effect added, executed, changed. Is there a way to know that it was removed? Like where is this invoked? On gameplay effect component. So okay. So I think that's already another problem. Like how do I maybe handle that then? So there's gameplay effect. So there's on applied on component. Is there anything like on completed? I don't know. Hey, Google Rabbit Discord 9. Oh my god, that's a big ass number, man. How's it going? Thanks for the follow. So is there and like out there here on complete but there is view additional effects gameplay effect component. Is that what I want? Maybe that's what I want. Hey, how's it going? Good roll. Welcome. Thanks for popping in. Guessing that's not the right. How can I find this action include? Oh, I guess I could just look up here, right? That I'm hoping this one is virtual. So on active gameplay effect removed. Not virtual. Where's this thing called? Because yeah, I can't override that then, right? That's weird. Hmm. Not sure. Maybe I'm lost in the sauce of thinking. Because like there is other things you could do. I could make like a removal thing so that on complete here it has another gameplay effect that's instant that removes these things, but that seems so messy. Because it's weird that like I don't know. So like what I would think and what I would assume and like I have a debuff, right? And the debuff is, saying subtract 1 XP every whatever seconds, right? I would imagine that I could either do it in one gameplay effect or be able to properly remove what I need to remove in the lifetime of the debuff itself. Since it doesn't like that I'm doing on application gameplay effects on something that would have a period. And this could all be mitigated if I could just get rid of that warning. I guess I could. Because who cares? But I think that being a warning is a little too much. So yeah, there's on gameplay effect applied. No, that's not what I need. What can I do? Because like the number of gameplay effects, it's kind of honestly it's not that big of a deal, but it's kind of exploding just to get a specific behavior. Like I could instead maybe like the debuff. It does the modifier and it just adds the tag. So yeah, not modifier, but execution. I wonder if I could just do card execution now. Calculation modifiers, yeah. -1. I also want to just make sure that this what does this do? Yeah, this is passive XP gain. I want to change this execution class to be the C++ version. That shouldn't affect anything. I hope. I double check. Am I passively gaining XP? Yes. Cool. So I could say, this is a passive thing, 1 second, execute on application. It does this execution stuff, and it also adds a gameplay tag. Or grants a gameplay tag. The block one. Oh. That blocks the XP gain, right? So in theory, assuming I'm still using that off mail. So passive card should be the debuff, right? So now I should, if I press jump, it'll start subtracting. And I wonder, let's say, I want to reset this period probably whenever it's not being used, I think. But yeah, the current issue is now if I were to do this quick enough, I start getting a negative value for this. And we don't really want that ever to go below 0. So I'm going to have to clean up this workspace. I'll do that in a couple minutes. Let's do this one last thing. Confirm that it works, and then I'll just clean up my workspace and we'll call it an evening. So what we want to do is on create attribute base change. I believe we want to do it here. Oh, we say attribute equals get current energy XP attribute. And then we want to clamp it between 0 and get max XP. In theory, that should be okay. Okay, build failed. Sick. The minimal API. Okay, yeah. Let's go old school. Let's clean up the workspace and recompile everything all at the same time. It's always fun. So let us exit out writer. Oh, sorry for blinding you. So yeah, let's go in. I kind of forget where I put my workspace. Is it ND? Ignite. Here we go. We gotta go to public game, gameplay system, gameplay effect, components, right? Same thing, but private game, gameplay effect, components, right? That go to source here, can delete, I think build. Yeah. Go options, generate Visual Studio project files. Let it do its thing. Okay. File. Then it's gonna take a little bit while longer, of course. So, while we wait, how's everybody? How's everybody in the chat doing on a nice Thursday? I hope you all got something good going on for the weekend. Anybody have any interesting ideas? Any projects that they're working on they want to share with everybody? No pressure, of course. If you're lurking, you're lurking. Hope y'all are having fun. Hopefully, you could take something away from this. Watching me struggle. Anyone playing any good games recently? I've been playing, I just started again on Dishonored. Really gotta appreciate Dishonored. I'm still making my way through, first Berserker, Bazan. Almost 30 hours into it. Think I'm almost done. I just got done beating, I guess her name is Troka. It's like that witch woman who had like, I guess it's water themed. She had like jellyfish and stuff. She was kicking my ass. I play with the greatsword. I like the kind of the slower paced combat there. If I had to pick a second one, I would probably pick spear. But I kind of like the play style there. But I don't know what to play after first Berserker. I was also able to beat Suit for Hire. That was a good game. By I forget the channel name. First Crimson. Maybe I'll do Ghost Runner. I kind of want to take maybe a little bit of break. Maybe I could play Ghost Runner on Steam Deck or something. I don't know. But yeah, after first Berserker, I'll maybe jump into Lies of P. Get that and then get the DLC. And then jump into, I don't know, some other Souls like. I don't want to jump into Fallen Feather? Whatever that newer one's called. But there's also I'm always forgetting the names of these games. There's so many. It's just like Sand Surfing one that's coming out this month. Guess who made Abzu? Maybe we can reverse engineer into this giant squid. Go. Do they have any other games coming out? Upcoming releases? Yeah, Sword of the Sea. Thank you. So this game looks pretty good. It reminds me, obviously, a lot of Journey. I really also love Journey a lot. So yeah, makes sense. Artist behind Journey. So that, okay, is it in the same world as Journey? Because that looked almost identical. Like this architecture that's going on. But yeah, the fact that the sand looks like waves too. That's gonna be so cool. I'm hyped for this one. I guess it comes out soon. The 19th. It's probably gonna be a relatively short game, right? Oh, and there's actual water there too. But yeah, super duper pumped. But yeah, it's definitely giving Journey. And I wonder if it's in the same world as Journey for some reason, somehow. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. So let's compile our project now. I'm finally recovering from this like massive sunburn on my leg. Oh my My skin was peeling off, and it's itchy. And it's on both legs too. So both legs are going through it. Good times. Always wear sunscreen, kids. I thought I was safe. I used sunscreen, then I went to the water like an idiot and forgot to put more on. I guess that's why they call you a moron, because you didn't put more on. I get it. Alright, so now, the whole point of all that was to make sure that the current XP value could never go below 0. I'm going to press spacebar. And it is clamped at 0. And then it gets back on. So that worked for sure. We have a couple minutes left to spare. I did face a question today at work that I kind of want to do a little bit of R&D on. Like, when you restart, like, the editor, like, is there any, like, I guess, immediate console commands you can run? I'm gonna ask ChatGPT if there's a way to do that. So, option 1, use execute console command in Blueprint. Okay. Okay, but option 2, editor preferences, level editor, play additional console commands. There we go. Let's look. Edit, editor preferences. Navigate to level editor. Is under miscellaneous. No, play. Because I remember, I thought I saw something like this. So there is additional launch parameters. Somewhere else. They're saying find the additional console commands section. Maybe under advanced. It's on top. Let's do all settings real quick and see if we can find it. Console. Are we sure that's a thing? What the hell? That gave me so much hope. So game gets mouse control, the dodge control label should automatic file and play an editor, sound quality. Can I just say, let's try for example, console command here. Does it launch with it? No. Without ChatGPT is lying. I feel like I've seen this before. I feel like I'm going crazy. Client, Server, additional server, advanced. I'll have to put a dash next to it for this. But like ChatGPT just straight up lied to my face. Gaslit me as well. They're recommending that, but console variables editor. So there's a plugin for it. We could see if this makes a difference. Whoop. Let's see, just so you guys can see a little bit of what I'm reading. Let's try compiling now. I hope I didn't just kind of break. We'll see. I do that from time to time. If this works. Oh, yeah. We got him. So let's open up this window. So, no options. Access this. So it'll be under window. Tools, debug. Yeah. Window. Is it enabled? Should be there. So they say it's under a window and then console variables, but I don't see it. Oh, down here. Add console variable. So let me this. Can I like have this open? Say execute. Either. The correct thing here. So execute. That's kind of disappointing. I guess there's not a way. Again, ChatGPT just lied in my face. That's why you can't trust AI, I guess. Commands. So it's all keyboard shortcuts. Oh well. Okay. No need to dwell on it. But we were able to accomplish a good amount. We were able to update our attribute set. We make sure that our XP gain is working. We know we can subtract it. We know we can block it. We know we can... Next, we'll need to make sure we can modify the passive regeneration rate. And we can... Not the rate, but the passive gain. Like, have a passive gain multiplier. And we can have... I guess ways to correctly add and remove card energy, making sure we're clamping that too, things like that. So yeah, all we did was just kind of update our attribute set just a little bit to give us a little more control on what we need to do with it. Yeah, never mind. Obviously you can't really see it too well, but our XP for the card energy is increasing by 3, and then once we reach our max, which is 10, it jumps to the next number, card energy being 2, and then goes up to 3. 3 is our max, and we clamp everything there, so you can never get through that. But we added passive effects, so that if you were to press spacebar, the current XP will start decreasing, so there will be some debuffs later on. So we could have enemies that apply this debuff, there could be cards that would apply this debuff to you. There's just ways to kind of manipulate how you're gaining card XP and card energy XP, to kind of prohibit how you can spend it on cards. So we're going to continue messing with this attribute set just to give us as much flexibility as we can get it with. And then we'll work on adding cost to the cards, so that when you activate a card or try to activate a card, it will be based on that cost and you have to spend that. And then we'll work on like other ways that you can passively gain it. And I don't know if it's going to be called passive or just active gain, where you earn it through like damage output or killing enemies or whatever the case might be. Maybe it's all passive gaining. There should be a way to kind of differentiate between the time-based passive gaining versus, things that you get from like damage and killing an enemy. But yeah, that's the end of the stream today. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. It's all much appreciated. And I believe, let me just make sure, my drawing If you're still watching, thank you so much for the raid earlier. I appreciate it. And thanks to all the new people that followed. So for those still watching here on Discord, on Twitter, I'm so dumb. All the people watching on Discord, feel free to join our Discord. Make sure to follow me. I don't know if this TikTok thing will work, because I do have a TikTok, but if I did. Okay, make sure to follow me on TikTok. Make sure to follow here on Twitch. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. And all that good stuff. So I appreciate it. We have a bunch of people watching, so let's do ourselves a service here. Let's raid. Is there anybody in this top 4 game development category with not a lot of viewers? Maybe we can do Okay, we found somebody. So, peace out, Bill. Thank you so much for stopping by towards the end there. It's appreciated. So let's go ahead and raid. And Saru. And we'll see what happens. Oops. Did I not do raid? Oh, I gotta do it probably in the appropriate thing here. Alright, so let's bring as many people as we can on over there. Again, thanks guys for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a good remaining rest of your night. Have a good coming weekend. And take care of yourselves. And I'll see you soon.